Surrounding from section in yeah, yeah.
Hey, everyone. Good morning. Welcome. Really glad we are all meeting here today. I am Anil and I work as software development manager at Amazon. And I also work closely with 10,000 coders, as you know, a tech school based out of Hyderabad and Bangalore that focuses on helping freshers like you to land your first job in tech. In the next 45 minutes or so, what we are going to do is what can help freshers like you land your first job, particularly in this AI era. You will also have a practical playbook that you can actually use. So, uh, you know, maybe grab your notebook and note down if there are certain important things, and then you can always get back to us if you have any questions. So, without further ado, and most of them have done everything, like they attend their classes, complete their graduation, clear their exams, and uh, even few of them or even most of them do a few certifications, one or two. You all work, but then when the job searching begins, not you will have the same results, right? Uh, you start applying for a lot of jobs. These applications go unanswered, or even if you get a response, you attend the interviews, but then you struggle to crack those interviews. Uh, and then days pass, sometimes even years. So one of the thing, that we have seen or that I have noticed practically is while most of putting in those hard efforts to land in your first job, the difference is not in the efforts, but more in the direction. So here, what we are going to do in the next 40 odd minutes is we look at what we need to do so that, uh, your efforts are always going in the right direction, which will yield you fruitful results towards the end. Now, before we
This meeting is being recorded.
like new hires to be fluent on how to work with them. So AI is everywhere. It is no more a buzzword. It is the reality. We have to admit and we have to prepare for that. The second thing, with the advent of AI, skills now matter more than degrees. In fact, it is true even before AI, but with AI, this is even more prominent. I am not saying that your college degree isn't helpful. It is, but when a hiring manager like me look at hundreds of resumes, we don't want to sort them by your percentage or CGPA, right? And then say like, okay, this person has got highest CGPA, so let's start with him. No, that's not going to happen. What we actually look for is the evidence of your skills in terms of application. So that is where your degrees, your percentages, while they are helpful, they are not going to eventually help you in landing your with uh, COVID and post-COVID era, people are thinking about remote jobs. While companies are big tech companies are looking to cut down on that, but there are still a bunch of companies who are looking to hire good talent wherever they are. So your competition is now global. So one of the things that I want you all to understand or digest within yourself is if you are fearful that AI will replace you, that is not true. You won't be replaced by AI. You will be replaced by someone. I want you all to note it down, put it into your brains, Don't be afraid of AI. AI is not going to replace you, but you should know how to leverage AI to your advantage. Think of it like this. Earlier, people used to note down the phone numbers in like small notepads or even memorize them. Even the mathematical calculations, like people who can do faster calculations are more important with calculators, Excel sheets, all coming into picture. Now, that kind of skill, while it is still appreciated, is no more relevant in terms of the job market. Similar thing is going to happen with AI. So you should start using these AI tools to your benefit. Now, going back to what I said, we are focusing on what is the path needed for you to succeed. I just touched upon the AI context, but here, again, going back to the main concept, tutorial loops. So this is what I was telling about, right? So if you are thinking like, hey, I will go through 5 or 6 courses, maybe few training institutes or online courses, YouTube videos, lectures, and I will get these fancy certifications on my LinkedIn profile or my resume. Unfortunately, they do not work. It's okay. You still need to learn, but what is more important is, just focusing on learning, like watching YouTube video, uh, then doing Udemy course, or getting offline courses from institutes, or getting certificates. All these things will not help you get your job. And if you are just thinking like, hey, I will go ahead and apply for bunch of jobs which are available on Naukri or LinkedIn without really looking at what they are needed for and all, those days are all gone. What is more relevant is, is basically looking at what you could do and trying to find relevant job opportunities. And finally, try to learn things as part of community, as a group, because that's what you might have seen in when you are doing this uh, education in your colleges also, right? So it's very, very important. So that way, you could actually share your knowledge. So what is important? The key thing here is learning more and more things is no more recommended or suggested. What is more important is what we are going to see in the coming slides. So we just see like what doesn't work and then what actually works. So what actually works? This is more important. Learn just enough to build. What it means, like I want to build, say like a simple HTML based, say like a simple sign-in page. So for that, understand what is needed to do that. And once you do that, the basic HTML, basic CSS, or basic JavaScript, or React, or whatever technology you want to use. And don't try to complete like what complete HTML is all about, what complete CSS is all about, and all that. No, you are not focusing on certifications, as I told you. What you are focusing more is on practical application. So learn something and then start applying that. Start applying that. Create something out of what you have learned. And when you start doing that, you will get stuck. Then go back, use AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini. Okay, do this vibe coding. Start asking these questions to AI tool. See where you are stuck. You could actually use other standard, like old tools, conventional tools like your Google, Stack Overflow, and all these as well. But what I'm trying to say is focus on application. What is more important is not just learning, it is about applying what you have learned. And if you think like, okay, let me complete this complete course, and then maybe, I will start building something. No, it will be too late. So it is more about applying what you know. I'll give you like some practical evidence in what happening among the big tech companies as well. So today, earlier in the software development life cycle, what we used to do is like gather all the requirements first, understand all the requirements, and then trying to put them, document them, prepare, come up with a HLD, review it with senior engineers, principal engineers, then focus on low-level design before you start coding. And by that time, all this prep work takes like few weeks. In some cases, like big projects, even few months. Now all that has changed. People are expecting something to see in just days and hours. Okay. So that is what companies are doing. So if you are still stuck in conventional ways, it's not going to help you. So this is the change I am trying to tell you the industry is going through and you need to adapt to. Second thing, as I told you, is building proof of work. Based on whatever you have done, whatever you have learned, build something. So if you go back, settle back to my previous slide, I said like certification hoarding or, doing a lot of tutorials or courses may not help you. So what helps you? What helps you is your proof of work. So if I look at your, LinkedIn profile or your resume, if that just says, okay, this guy has completed 10 certifications with like 10 out of 10 CGPA, but I look at another profile that says like, okay, this guy has built 2 applications, I could see the GitHub code or other things. Generally, as a hiring manager, I prefer the second one because I have the evidence that this person could actually deliver. So always focusing on building the proof of work. Yeah, this we already covered, like using AI as a tool. So when you are stuck, ask AI, it can make you faster, like, 10x faster. And like there are ways, like I think another practical tip that we follow at work or we suggest people at work is sometimes many people ask like, hey, Anil, I have absolutely no idea what to do. How can I even leverage AI? Right? So in such cases, you could actually start with asking AI on what we should ask them. Ask AI. So it's like, hey, AI, I want to build this application, but I'm not really sure where to start. Can you help me? Okay. Then AI can, actually start you asking certain questions, which will help you build more clarity into what you want to build, and then actually take all this information, feed it back to AI so that it can start giving you right direction. So always use AI as, as your friend, as your companion. But there is a small risk over there. Leveraging AI, I think we'll cover it at a later point of time. So maybe I'll pause it here. Then number 4 is apply thoughtfully. Again, circling back, I said, don't just spray and pray kind of, doing applications. Hello. Hey. Okay, fine. Let me continue. So it's more about, prioritizing quality over quantity. So always target roles that match where you are and where you want to go. So again, the question that might come up is, as a fresh graduate, companies expect flexibility from you. So, and as a fresh graduate, because even I have come out from that phase, one of the things that we were told back in colleges and all is like, hey, you get your good percentages, then companies will hire you, train you, put it into, some project that they want you. Unfortunately, again, those days are slowly going away, fading away. So what is more important is always target your roles. Like generally we target roles from mid to senior level, not as a fresh graduate, but the bar has changed. So even as freshers, like think about how you can target your roles uh, based on whatever skills you have acquired, whatever applications you have built, and there are higher chances that your profile will get shortlisted. The last thing is about problem solving ability. This is more important, particularly if you want to apply for MAN companies, big tech, or even product startups, because over there, what is more important is how you can solve problems. Because as you know, like in product companies, we are always trying to solve problems. We are always trying to find new things that may or may not work. So what is more important is to experiment, keep on experimenting. Some of them may fail, some of them may succeed, which is okay. What is more important is to have that mindset. So it's no more about memorizing syntax or memorizing code. It's more about how you can think, apply whatever you have learned into your practical day-to-day scenarios. There is some feedback from Joshi. Okay, fine. Uh, so these 5 principles, as I said, the framework are basically the backbone of what you are going to explore, in further slides. And also, I suggest you to keep applying this framework for, rest few months or few weeks till you get your first job. So what is more important among these 5? I would say the first and foremost thing is proof of work, because that is something, that tells employers that, hey, this person is actually, sorry, yeah, screen sharing is still on. This person can actually, get things done. So the difference, as I called out, is not. I think this is the one example I said earlier, right? So when I'm looking at 2 profiles as a hiring manager, if I have one profile with, lots of certificates, good CGPA, I'm not even talking about bad CGPA, versus I see a profile with 1 or 2 strong projects, what would I choose? As a hiring manager, I would definitely choose the one with, a strong project, because again, as I said, what is wrong with having more certifications? Nothing wrong, but what is more important is the evidence. So nowadays, with the advent of AI, companies are not willing to invest into fresh graduates as they were doing earlier. So what we need to do is make sure we take those steps and make sure that we are ready for jobs. So even you could also think about, think it on your own. If you were a hiring manager, who would you pick? Like candidate A with, certificates from well-known platforms, or candidate B, uh, who has a good, profile, maybe a GitHub profile or a live application working with some kind of live production traffic as well, right? So if you think about it, then you will realize it yourself. And which is why I said in the framework, what is more important is building that proof of work. Because a project, as you know, shows that you understand your problem well enough and solve that problem. It shows that you might have dealt with the real production bugs, made decisions, trade-offs, uh, and then you basically found out how to navigate through confusion, how to navigate when you get stuck, and finally delivered something. So that is what is more important and is more prominent. So as I said, more than certifications, one strong project basically, is more helpful than multiple certifications that you are planning to do. So if you are still thinking like, hey, after my graduation, I want to do this certification, that certification, I would strongly suggest you to rethink. I see my audio is okay. Just a moment, let me check. Okay. Can you hear now? Thanks, Kishore. Thanks, Bhaskar. And first of all, thanks, Sai, for first telling me that my voice is not audible. Thank you. Fine. Going back, now the buzzword, AI. So again, as I said, you just cannot ignore AI. AI is here and it is going to stay here. All right. We have seen, at least maybe for you, you might not have seen, but in my career, I have seen few good technologies like uh, the big data technologies and the blockchains. Okay. I have seen these technologies, and then people thought like, okay, if, this is going to be the next big thing and a lot is going to happen. But unfortunately, while they were successful in certain streams, they were not as widely adopted as AI. So I am telling you the practical scenario in big tech companies, the projects that we used to take like, multiple weeks to deliver. Now the expectation is, hey, you need to deliver these projects in weeks, if not days. Earlier, we used to give our LOIs. LOI is nothing but effort estimates. Effort estimates in weeks, and people are happy. Now, if anyone sees like, hey, I'm giving my estimates in weeks, people are questioning why. So they are expecting in days. Now, what has changed? AI. AI is actually, working very well. I have personally seen a lot of improvement in the AI tools that we use. At Amazon, we use Claude, by the way, uh, Anthropic, Claude from Anthropic. So I have seen a lot of improvements in the way AI has evolved over the last 3 to 4 quarters from the time we have started adopting. Then, one thing I always tell my team members also is like, hey, the same thing, AI is here. You just can't ignore it. And if you think AI is not, going to do your work, or, AI is not going to be helpful, then probably it's time you need to think differently. Again, going back to, the statement that I made, AI will not replace you, but someone who will use AI can actually replace you. So what is more important is how should we leverage AI tool to improve our productivity, to improve our workflows, to improve our learning, and finally to improve our deliverables. So that is why I said use AI as your friend or your companion, your guide or your mentor. Now, I just want to touch upon one thing here. Many people, you might have read in news and all that, hey, the fresher jobs or the entry level jobs are at risk with AI. While it is true for many job levels, not just entry level, the focus on entry level is because, as an entry level graduate, we expect them to be mentored, and then, we expect them to be coming up with some boilerplate kind of thing, not really prod ready and all that stuff, which AI is pretty much doing today. Which is why, companies might start thinking like, hey, is it worth to start investing in a fresher instead of, uh, maybe investing into some AI tools and all that stuff, which is where we should be very diligent about the latest innovations, and then start doing, one step ahead. And then let us start using AI ourselves, and we are no more like a fresh or a recent graduate or an entry level graduate, right? I'm talking about we skipping that step and being like, uh, you know, uh, I won't even call a mid kind of role, but definitely, better than an entry level graduate. And how are we going to do it? Using AI as a tool. So if you start ignoring AI tools, either out of fear or you think like, using them is somehow cheating and all that stuff, it's not true. Again, I would like to clarify one more point at some, in some time. Using AI tool for your day-to-day work is not cheating. And there are companies which are actually, trying to put interviews where you could actually utilize AI tools to solve problems. And most of the big tech companies today actually assess a candidate on their Gen AI influence, utilization of Gen AI, right? So it is very important for you to start using this. But how to use AI? If I just, start copy pasting my code, and then whatever I get from there, I start putting into my, source code and start deploying it to prod, is it really going to help me? So this is what I wanted to clarify. Now, when AI comes and AI does all the things for you, are you really learning anything? So this is one, important or key aspect that we are also facing, or we are also thinking about when we get in recent graduates into organizations, companies. Is AI going to kill the natural learning curve that these people should actually develop? It is true if you are blindly relying on AI. But if you are utilizing AI to understand stuff, to improve yourself, it is not true. Now, what is the risk of just blindly relying on AI? Because you will just get stuck at that level. You cannot grow beyond that level because you are completely dependent on AI and whatever AI is telling you. And sometimes AI hallucinates, AI might give you wrong direction, right? Now, human in the loop is more about understanding the inputs from AI and then moving towards right direction, guiding AI or guiding the problem towards right direction. So this is very, very important, which is why I would suggest you people to start utilizing AI as a thinking partner, you know, as entry level graduates, you could actually utilize AI to explain concepts you are stuck on, ask it to review your code, suggest improvements. Don't ask it to write your code completely. Have that loop. Okay, review the code. It's more like a senior engineer is actually reviewing your code, right, and giving you comments. Most of the AI models, LLM models, are very, very advanced these days. They can give you very good suggestions, improvements, and guide you in right directions. Help it, debugging your stuff or brainstorming new project ideas. I want to do something. Hey, uh, can you tell me like how can I start, or is it worth doing? If you have a startup idea, even that's a very good thing. You discuss with AI, is it worth doing? What is my market size? How can I get started? What should be my MVP? All this stuff. Okay. So always use AI in the right way. And I am again highlighting this. You won't be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by someone who knows how to use it. These are the common mistakes you might have already seen. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Waiting to feel ready. As I told earlier, please don't do that. Don't wait for you to complete all your course before you say like, hey, I am ready. Instead, start applying, whatever you have known, building something, and then utilize AI. Then, again, it becomes a feedback loop for you people, right? So don't wait, don't keep studying, hoping that you will get confident, once you complete a book or you complete a course. That's not going to happen. And if you are doing that, you are just sitting on it and wasting time. That's not how things will work. Even if you start working in organizations going forward, that's not what is expected from you folks. Hands-on practice is very, very important. So don't skip that. Don't compare yourself with peers. Okay. So this is more in terms of the, psychology or motivation kind of thing. You are on your, your own path. You decide like what is good for you and then have your own milestones. Don't get uh, disheartened or don't get concerned that hey, my peers are moving ahead and I am falling behind. Please don't do that. And giving up after setback. So 3 and 4 are always true, if with or without AI. So you may fail, that's fine. I'll tell you a practical example, right? People reach out to me that, hey, Anil, I want to work for Amazon or I want to work for Google, any big tech companies. One of the things I tell them while I refer their profile is, hey, getting into big tech, the entry barrier is high. So you give an interview. If you get rejected, don't worry, don't get disheartened, but you understand the process of interviewing, right? What is expected from these companies, and then prepare, come back, reapply. All right. It may not be applicable as as I have told you in your case, but what is more important is don't be afraid of failures. It's okay. Like you go ahead, get things done, apply. It may work, may not work, but you are always learning. In fact, you can go back in your chat GPT or Gemini LLMs, you can create your interviewing agents, right? And then you start feeding the questions and answers, and then your agent can actually assess and then give you feedback like, hey, here you might have done something wrong, or here you have done good. So continue with that and all this stuff. So please don't give up after setbacks. So forget about the timeline. What is more important is your lab approach. Learn, apply, build. So whatever you are learning, you start applying it, and then you start building something out of it. So it is very, very important, as I called out, application or proof of work is going to be key. It's not certifications. And finally, most of the things that I have told here, you could do it on your own. You will also get a playbook along with this, right? Since you have all registered. And if you don't want to do it alone, then 10,000 coders is here. Whatever I have spoken, the process, the structure is something that is being followed at 10,000 coders. So this is what 10,000 coders can help you in in landing your first job. So again, rephrasing the same thing, utilize AI. If you start using AI, you are already ahead of a lot of others. Don't be afraid of AI, and don't think like using AI is cheating. Use AI, use AI in the right direction. Build your proof of work, start applying for relevant roles, and all the very best in your job search. I'll take a pause. If anyone has any questions, we can discuss.
Sir, when I am applying for a job to the front end or back end, they're expecting more, such as Kubernetes. So, how much level of action I have to learn?
Okay, that's a good question. It's more about, again, have you started applying your skills into building or deploying real-time applications? Have you checked in your code into GitHub, or have you had your GitHub pages or something built into your applications? So the reason why I'm telling you is, once you start putting this, you will understand the CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Maybe you'll start ending up deploying your page or application into some kind of cloud thing. So it's not very, very important for you to know in and out of Kubernetes or in and out of AWS. What is more important for you is to understand, okay, that I could deploy my pages or my applications into cloud. I could actually build pipelines where I have continuous integration or continuous deployment inbuilt. And all this you could actually do by just focusing on basics. All right. So that's a good question. I didn't get your name. So this is again, this might again go into a trap, right? So you started going to a place, then they said like, hey, you need to know Kubernetes or you need to know AWS. Now you come back, you start enrolling to these courses, start learning these things, and then you go to a different application. Suddenly they said, okay, AWS is good, but maybe I want people with Azure. All right. Then again, you are basically getting into this trap of continuous learning, which is why what is more important is how you could actually present yourself. So if I were in your place, or maybe you reach out to me that say, hey, Anil, this is what I'm learning, like how could I represent my work? Assuming you have already built your front end application with necessary uh, with necessary complexity. So I'm not just saying like you just did a hello world and then went to application, went to an interview with necessary complexity and necessary skill set. How I would phrase my answer to that is, hey, I don't know the entirety of Kubernetes or AWS, but I know the cloud deployment and all. My application is already deployed into this through GitHub pages, or it's already there on the Netscape kind of thing, which is a cloud application. So this is where application part comes into picture. You are trying to convey whatever you have learned, whatever you have built, and relate it to what they are expecting. Now, if you look from an interviewer perspective, if I'm asking you this question and if you are telling me all these things, now I know that, hey, this person is already aware of these fundamentals. Now, what this person may lack is, okay, maybe she is not aware of AWS, or maybe she is not aware of Kubernetes, but she is aware of CI/CD and some cloud deployment. So the learning gap is not as significant as someone who is not completely aware of. So don't focus on learning everything. Instead, when you build your applications, try to touch upon the things which can actually give you the fundamental knowledge. And these tools like AWS, Azure, if you learn AWS and Azure, someone might say, hey, I need Oracle Cloud or Google, right? So you cannot keep on learning everything. So what is more important is to focus on those fundamentals and then relate it to what people are expecting.
And sir, second out is I had built complete application using Python full stack. So when I'm applying for React.js, so another full stack development job. So they are saying that the skills are required for Node.js and Express.js for the backend, and I learned Django and REST API. So how can I able to manage and
I think this is where one of the things I mentioned is more about target your jobs, target your roles. Now, if you are thinking all the companies are already are just asking for Node or JavaScript as the backend, like full stack JS, one thing I would suggest is instead of focusing on that, maybe do a small research. Again, you could utilize AI for this. Okay, but you could also do it on your own. Small research, go to Naukri, go to Monster. I don't know if Monster is still alive or not, but maybe go to LinkedIn and try to read like top 10 or 20 job applications around full stack. What are they talking about? Are they all looking at JS backend? Or are they talking about Python? Or are they talking about something else? So probably based on that majority, I would actually go and invest my learning time into. So that is what I would do if I had not done anything, not learned anything. So that's the first part. Because since you have asked, I just wanted to tell to be applicable to everyone. In your case, particularly, because you have done Python, okay, it's not like you are starting afresh, right? It's not a blank slate. Since you have done Python, I would suggest you to focus more on where Python is being asked instead of just going on to other applications. Now, if you don't have Python related jobs, that becomes an interesting thing. So that is where you may need to see like, hey, do I need to learn what is enough for me to just crack that interview instead of focusing on doing this entire JS course again for next 3 to 6 months, because your foundations and fundamentals always remain same across languages, right? Like for example, if you apply for any big tech, we always tell you like, though we use Java, at my organization, we have people who are, who have learned are good with JS or Python, uh, because the learning curve is not as sharp or as steep as someone who doesn't know it. So it's more about just learning those fundamentals and then going back and convincing that interviewer that, hey, you have enough, and with shorter time, you could actually scale up. But all these are like some of my friends also come to me with similar questions like, hey, I'm good here, but then this company is asking this. So my suggestion is, if you see all the companies are just asking that, first thing is focus on what you know. But if you don't find any relevant opportunities, but if you see like, something else can give you opportunities, learn just enough to convince the people that you have enough knowledge.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I am also a professor. I know I have a knowledge in Java. Is building a routine project like a student management or employee payroll systems help us to get the job?
Yes. Yes. Don't worry about what application or project you are doing. If I am a hiring manager, if I am an interviewer, even if you come with a simple calculator application, I am more than happy. Many times, what happens is, it's not that people are not coming up with projects. Actually, everybody has project in their portfolio, but they do not know what they have done in building that project. So my suggestion is, don't worry about what project you are picking up. It could be very simple, very straightforward, that's fine. But know in and out of what has gone into that. You should be able to clearly explain both from a technical point of view and usability point of view of what you have done. That's more than enough. And you will be surprised when you actually go and talk to interviewers that their expectation is not as high as others are thinking. People talk about, hey, I implemented some research papers and all that stuff, but many of the interviewers know that you haven't actually done that. So instead of that, take something simple, but you do it.
Thank you.
Sir, actually, as we are freshers, how much we are advanced to use the AI tools, and how much we have to gain the knowledge about AI using tools?
Just use AI tools. Okay. Don't worry about LLMs or what goes behind building AI and all. If that is, I'll take it to build AI tools or what goes behind in building AI tools. No, that's not the expectation. What is expectation is usage of AI tools, how you could actually use these AI tools. So the simple thing, as I just mentioned, is you start writing some code, then generally in our organizations, I know I am on my office laptop, but I cannot share it because it's kind of confidential. What happens is in our tools itself, AI is deeply integrated. Okay, in your case, it may not be. So what you need to do is if you write your code on say Notepad++, Edit+, or even Notepad, just take it from there, put it into ChatGPT or Gemini or even Claude. I think I don't know if Claude is available, free version is available or not. Put it into there, start getting the feedback and then incorporate that feedback back into your code, and then again go back to the Gen AI agent. So it's more about how to utilize AI tools. It's not about what happens or what is needed to build AI tools. That's not the expectation. So don't get into the trap again. If you are interested in LLMs, deep tech and all that stuff, then please go ahead and do it. But for this scope of landing into a fresh job as a recent graduate, the expectation is more about how to utilize AI.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Fine. Otherwise, like if you have any questions, you can always drop in. I think someone from 10,000 Coders team will actually be available to connect with you. So you can drop in your questions. I will try to answer offline as well. And you will get a playbook with whatever I have covered today. So try to utilize that. My suggestion is use AI, build proof of work. These are like your, key takeaways. These should be your key takeaways from this session. I heard someone speaking. Anyone has any other question? A lot of technical rounds for data roles are now being influenced by AI. Do you have any advice on how to prepare for AI-driven technical interviews, specifically for data-heavy roles, and what will be the future of data science as the AI era is being evolved at a very high level? Okay, I'll take the second part. What will be the future of data science? Now, one of the things is more around the AI tools are now very, very advanced that they could actually review and provide insights around a lot of data heavy intensive applications. So one of the roles that we are thinking will get eliminated because of AI is more around the business intelligence engineers, and which is more around data analytics and reporting. Yes, it is true. They may get eliminated, but from a data science perspective, it is just not about analyzing data. Where humans could actually, help here is more around building the domain knowledge. How am I bringing in my domain knowledge into the perspective? So as long as you are good with your domain knowledge, it might not be very much applicable for you as recent graduate, but as you go on building your career, as you build your domain knowledge, it will always help you to stay relevant even in the AI era. Now, how to prepare for AI-driven technical interviews? Um, I just need some more clarity on this question. Are you saying people are utilizing AI tools and they want you to use AI tools during the interview, or if you can clarify that question, Saba? Okay. Meanwhile, I will go to Bhaskar's question. I know some AI tools like anti-gravity stitch, etc. Is that helpful if I mention that in my resume to get a job? You can mention any AI tool, Bhaskar. To be honest, it's not about the tool. It's more about what you did with the tool. So if you could tell, like, instead of just saying, hey, I used anti-gravity or stitch, instead, if you could say like, hey, I use this anti-gravity, what I used to do is like, I write this code. If I compile, I get some errors. I start putting it into this AI tool, take the feedback, and then start putting it back into my changing my application. So if you could explain that journey on how you have utilized the AI tool, I think that will help you. Not just mentioning the names, because it doesn't matter. Like many of the recent graduate resumes, I know even I have put it when I was says like, I know Windows OS, or do we really know? No, we just know how to use, right? How to log in, how to log out, or how to open browser and all that stuff. So it's more about how you could explain your journey, your learning journey, your application journey using any AI tool will help you. Moving on to the next question, Shiva asks, like, some members are saying the front end is going to automate, is demand will be there, but less in future, your opinion? So AI is still evolving, Shiva. So at this moment, we do not have a lot of clarity. People are saying, if you look at, people like Anthropic or OpenAI or Gemini is very well, Google is very matured in that aspect, but many of the other Gen AI tools and all are saying like, hey, this is going, that is going. So in 1 or 2 years, it will not be there, that will not be there. So what I would suggest is don't worry about all those things. What we need to do is we need to learn to be adaptive. At this moment, there is definitely demand for front end. So you focus on that, you learn that, but you should be adaptive enough to make sure that if something changes tomorrow, you should be able to pick up those things. If you ask my opinion, I don't think it will completely go away, but most of the work may get done by AI tools, and then you still need human in loop to make sure that it is production ready. So while this AI landscape is evolving and it is evolving fast, what is more important for us is to stay relevant, stay ready to be adaptive instead of just worrying like something will go away. And people are saying even middle level or manager roles are at risk. So I am also facing that, right? But it's more and more about being adaptive and being open to the latest technologies. Okay, Teja has a question. I applied 10 to 15 jobs, but I don't get any response. Is there any fault on my side, or that posting jobs are fake, sir? Again, it goes back to the spray and pray kind of thing I told you. So unfortunately, they do not work. I am not going to say that most of them are fake. So with all due respect to the employees, but what happens is when a job opens up, I will have like hundreds of applications, right? And for a company, doing an interview, screening an application is always costly, right? So if I get 200 applications, if I take like 1 to 2 minutes, just 1 to 2 minutes for an application to screen, I'm spending like 400 minutes, which is roughly like, say, 8 hours. So one day is gone. So I'm just getting paid just to screen resumes, right? So that's why. So that is why most of the applications when you apply do not actually go into the review phase or screening phase as well. So This is where, your proof of work and, a targeted reaching may help. Otherwise, like you can also rely on people like 10,000 coders or, some other platforms just to help you get that initial breakthrough. So they may not be fake, but some of them may be for sure, because they might be trying to take these leads and convert you into something else. So one thing since it came up is no company asks for you to pay for a job. So if somebody is asking, stay vigilant. Can I build applications end to end using AI? Yes, you can. In fact, we are also doing the real prod applications you will see. Would your learning style and techniques is used? I didn't get the question, Shiva. Would your learning style and techniques is used at what place? Are you saying like used at my organization or used at across the industry?
I'm asking about, would you say you are learning? It means how you will learn and what are the techniques you are going to use for learning any technology, or you want to upskill anything like that, sir?
Okay, so is that helpful? Is that what you are saying? Your learning style and how you learn things?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. End to end.
It is definitely like at Amazon, we have a leadership principle called learn and be curious. And we actually assess candidates on that. I know Google also has something similar. So yes, it's very important. Is DSA end-to-end required for product-based company? Yes, because you asked for product-based company, DSA is definitely important. The foundations and all, but if you are looking at service level and other stuff, even just basic minimum knowledge might help. When you said end-to-end, it's okay. Like if you are not going far into the graphs or trees, basic level of graphs and all that might be enough, even if you don't dive deep into it. But basic algorithms like your search and sort, the big notation, the complexity, space complexity, time complexity, these basic fundamentals you definitely need to cover. Do not use AI in my full stack Java. What question can I raise in company interviewers? So you said you did not use AI, Kumar Tirumala, in your full stack Java project. What questions can I raise in company interviewers reality? Okay, can you clarify that question? So like if people are asking you that you did not use. Exactly, Vasam. Yes. That is why I said copy and paste will not work. Copy and paste will not work. So what will happen is AI tools are pretty adaptive actually. If you start writing your code and then putting it to the AI, one thing I always tell, like I use AI a lot for documentation, because as manager I have to do a lot of documentation. What I tell AI is like, this is my writing style. If you are telling me something, follow my writing style. AI can actually do that. So please don't just copy paste the AI code. It's not going to work. Along with the DSA, what else for a product company? So we also have a playbook for Mang companies, Pashvita. So probably you will get that after this. So it has some details around how you prepare for Mang companies.
Sir, I am
can I use AI?
I am
Yeah,
asking about
go ahead.
your learning style and your learning techniques when you want to upskill.
Oh, how do I do that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, nice. How do I do that? So for me, it's more about, because I have lots of, fundamentals and basic things covered. So if I have to pick up anything, what I just do is what I have just told you, right? Do just enough that is needed to get things done. Now, will that help me to crack interviews? Maybe not, because when I am interviewing for my level and role, all these things may not be very relevant. So for example, I had built a web application called Ngrip some time ago. which needed socket programming. So I wasn't completely aware of it. So I used, at that time, AI was also not there. I used Google and Stack Overflow and all that stuff, built a React.js component. Now, if you ask me like, sorry, Node.js components on server side. If you ask me, do I know Node.js and all? No. But did I get that thing done? Yes. That is what is more valuable today. Can you get things done? It's not important for you to know each and everything.
Thank you, sir.
Can I use AI when I have interview with interviewer? Absolutely no, Sai, unless they ask you to use AI tool. We will get to know, because at least I could clearly see a few interviewers who have actually used AI tool, and I had to unfortunately, reject them, because it's more about integrity, right? So please don't do that. But use it for your preparation. In my previous company, I used AI tools to develop applications. It causes 1 or 2 members are enough to build an end-to-end. So in future, is AI effect? Absolutely, Bhaskar. There will be definitely effect. Our job roles will evolve. Job roles will change. As I said, maybe the initial level of coding AI will do, and beginner coding kind of thing, that role might completely vanish, and we more or less focus on solving problems. But will it impact? No. Businesses may expand. Like what we are doing in our organization is we are taking more goals. Yeah, you will get that playbook. The code given. Okay, I covered this. This is how to mastering DSA to crack product based. Okay, probably I'll take this question offline, master DSA, because I don't think we'll be able to cover it in 1 or 2 minutes. I learned basics in AI, what is what and how to use in my project. Is it enough, sir? Yes, it's enough. Fine. So we are slightly over time. Unfortunately, I have a hard cut off at 12, but it was pretty nice talking to you all. As I said, if you still have questions, feel free to drop in. I will definitely respond to them offline. And yeah, it was nice meeting you all and having this interaction. Have a nice rest of the day, great weekend, and all the best for your future job search. Way to drop message, Vasant or someone from 10,000 coders. Can you take that? If you can give some forum, some email, or some forum for attendees to ask questions. We'll definitely get back, because I think you must have signed up, right? So we'll definitely get back.
Sir, end of the session, we will be providing a certificate to all the participants. I can display the QR. Participant, just scan the QR and get the certificate. Hi guys, everyone should scan this QR, take a screenshot, and you fill all the details, and you get the certificate. So that's it. We're providing the playbook in just 1 hour. After 1 hour, we're providing the handbook on our Instagram page. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining this session. I hope you get the certificate.